Hello, my name's Helen Knight. I'm the founder of Creative Business Brain, and today we are talking to John Graham, who is delivering creative solutions for commercial challenges, managing director and partner at AD Creative in London for the last 44 years, and part of the Spider Creative Group. Our topic today is the Eureka factor, knowing when it's the right solution and knowing when it's the wrong one. So, welcome, John. Would you mind talking a little bit about your background first, just to introduce yourself to our audience?
Not at all. My name's John Graham. I'm the managing director of AD Creative London. We are a design consultancy that was first established in 1973, which means that we have a vast amount of experience. We were originally formed out of an advertising agency called J. Walter Thompson, where I worked for 9 months after leaving art school, and I went to a very well-known art school. Since then, we started out really as a pure advertising agency, creative hotshop, and we very quickly identified that there was a gap in the marketplace, particularly for some of Thompson's clients, to
Mhm.
look at really how their brand operated and really to look at brand strategy as being a core component of what we would actually offer.
Mhm.
Our first brands that I would suggest that we worked on were very well-known brands such as House of Fraser, which in the late 70s, early 80s, a very large chain of department stores, and at one point actually owned Harrods. So one of our very first brand jobs was looking at how Harrods displayed its brand on the outside of the store, which was really obviously, it's a landmark job. Uh,
Yeah,
it
amazing.
was it was great fun to work on.
Mhm.
We also created the original identity for TSB, Trustee Savings Bank,
Mhm.
uh, which then became part of Lloyd's and now is TSB again. So it's interesting how things change. So
Yeah.
over the decades, we've had a lot of what I would call kind of signature projects. And
Mhm.
one of the things that we're really very good at is making each design solution specific to that client. There's no cookie cutter approach. You would never recognize a piece of our work as coming from us. You would recognize that strategy and that identity as being very specific to the client.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I'm very fortunate over the decades to have worked with a team of people, and the people do change. I mean, our team retention is actually very good. Typical period of time that somebody's with us is between 5 and 7 years.
Mhm.
And most of them have gone on to start their own agencies. So again,
Amazing.
that's something, yeah, I'm very proud of that
Yeah.
because they've learnt a lot through being, it's not just me, it's actually a whole team.
Mhm.
And it's important to have team players. And this will lead me very neatly on to talk about Eureka, which I'll do in a second.
Mhm.
I think what's also important to know about us is that we literally do operate globally. During the mid 90s, we had an office in Norway, in
Oh, wow.
Oslo. Oh, my favorite country on the planet. Uh,
Brilliant.
and I fell in love with it. We had a team of six in Norway
Mhm.
because we had two major pieces of business, which we worked on, and it was handled in Norway.
Mhm.
A lot of the creative work coming from the UK. So think
Okay.
about us as a medium-sized design agency. So we all have partners, all have large agency backgrounds. Mine's at JWT decades ago.
Yeah.
Um, but we do actually we operate as a medium-sized consultancy. So we have scale, but we also have affordability.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
also important that, particularly with globalization of design as an industry now, that you're able to very quickly call in people from other territories, should you need to do that, and other expertise, as we found specifically with the Scandinavian market, as we did in Norway.
Mhm.
And that for me was brilliant experience. We also, as an agency, I spent 2.5 years in Istanbul, which is
Oh, lovely. Mm.
yeah, wonderful city, working with a substantial German corporation called Henkel, They're probably the biggest company you've never heard of. Amongst other things, they make glues, araldite, for
Okay.
instance. We repositioned all of their household products. That's things like washing powders, washing liquids, fabric conditioners, etc., etc. I don't believe for a single moment that you can develop an identity, a brand, a piece of packaging, a strategy for a market unless you are in that market.
Mm,
It's just not going to work. And that
yeah.
again comes back to Eureka, which I'll explain in a
Okay.
second.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes people come to me and they don't really know what direction they want to go in because I've worked for so many different industries before. But obviously with everything evolving and people generating a lot of interest online, it's so much obviously easier to get the message across if you're more specific about who you're trying to attract.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's always a challenge, isn't it, for those people because they want to help everyone. And yeah, it's not easy, but once you do start to look at who you really enjoy working with the most and what type of personalities come along with that, often, you want to work with people that you get on well with, that you enjoy working with, that you've got something in common with. I think that helps a lot. But yeah, really interested to hear more about your Eureka. Is it a method or yeah, tell me
It
more.
is, it is a method, yes, most definitely. And it's really,
Mm,
its primary purpose is to set our consultancy aside from competition. I
mm,
think that we looked at this originally about 15 years ago and looked at really what our core assets were as a consultancy. What do we bring to the table? And for that, we set a research program with an external consultancy to ask our clients, why do you use these guys? Why do you come to them?
yeah.
We're not the biggest. We're not part of a global empire. Um, why? What is the question? And she, I can't name her, unfortunately. She's an incredibly important person in the design industry in large corporations,
Okay.
various ones, and she's taken us with her to various directorship and board level positions that she's had. And we asked her, why do you continue to use us? We're a medium-sized agency,
Mm,
and you've taken us along the way
mm,
to various roles that you've had. And everybody in the design industry was, oh, you're really creative, you're really brilliant, blah, blah, blah. And she looked at me and said, you make me look good.
oh, perfect. Oh, yeah. Well, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
And that to me is just that's exactly what it's about.
Mm,
It's there are two parts to it. There is the client and the consumer. So as you made a point, it's pointless being jack of all trades. Our two core strands of business are FMCG and B2B. And we make that very clear on our website. And that's the two areas that we've scored very well in.
mm,
If we look at Eureka as a product, that's actually part of our offering and it's really part of our consultancy DNA. How long does it take you to have an idea? You've had one. That's an idea. That's how quick it can be.
yeah.
Actually knowing whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent for the
Mm,
specific client or the specific brand, that takes time. And
mm,
that's experience that we've gained. Trust me, I'm not saying I'm the only one. There'll be a lot of guys and girls who have similar, if not the same experience as me. We've defined this as part of our consultancy DNA,
mm,
and that has set us apart. I mentioned to you on our last call, we were in the last stages of a pitch for a substantial piece of global business. We've won it.
amazing. Well
Yeah.
done.
And I've got the onboarding call tomorrow with the client, so I'm very pleased about that.
Well done. Yeah, congratulations. Very exciting.
Sorry, I probably shouldn't have looked so, yeah, but
You're allowed to celebrate. It's important.
of
Yeah.
course, that's actually what it's all about. And I think also that you and I talked about this before. You don't go in the room to come second, you go in the room to win.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, not
Mm,
just for your own agency and your own team, but also for the client's brand. And I come back to what that particular lady said about us. You made me look good, and that's really what we try to do.
Mm.
I think it's important to understand what Eureka is so you can have an idea like that. Is it right or wrong? Well, you're expecting the client to commit not just their money, their brand, but their own internal reputation, because they potentially, if they're at product manager level, will have to go to the brands director to
Mhm.
say, this is what I'm going to do. So you want to make sure, and they want to believe that actually they've got the right advice for the right solution for the right time within the right marketplace.
Mhm.
Adding all of those components together, and we have a matrix that we use, which if anybody gets in touch with me, I'm happy to share with them. We have a matrix that we use because we defined it as a series of criteria
Mhm.
to define whether that idea is correct for that client, for that brand, for that product, for that market. The
Mhm.
machinery is talking to me. Um, it's
Okay.
not something it's not something we come up with overnight. It's something we've
Mm.
developed over many years, and
Yeah.
it's very effective.
Brilliant. Amazing. Yeah, because I think it's so important to have something within your offering that is unique to your business.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to, really think about the things that they've learned along the way. Obviously, everybody starts with the same kind of knowledge, but as you adapt and you evolve over time with experience, you end up doing things your own way, and you've tested and tried things, and you've worked out your own way of doing something. Well, it's so important to call that something special, call it something that means something to your audience or means something to that client. That's the way that I give people advice. I think it's so important for them to recognize that they need that, whatever it is from you, that extra secret sauce or whatever it is. They need something from you that is your unique way of doing something. And it helps you really stand out in the market as well. So, everyone otherwise talks about the same lingo all the time, don't they? It sort of talks about the same way of doing things, and it's all very surface level. But until you really understand who you're talking to and get to know things about them that other companies haven't even bothered to figure out, it's very hard to tailor something that works well for them. And if you've got your own method behind that to back that up and for them to go, oh, wow, these people have actually put so much thought into this. They've really gone into so much depth with this to make sure that whatever we come up with is an amazing solution, then it gives them a lot more trust in you. It gives them, they start to feel that they're working with some pros, and that's how they should feel. They should feel like, oh yeah, these guys know what they're doing. These guys have been there, done it before a million times, and now they're helping us. And we're kind of makes them feel lucky to be working with you rather than the other way around. Yeah, your audience should be like, oh wow, we want to work with these guys. These guys are showing that, that they've got a unique answer to our problem.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think it's used a word there. I mean, I was like, clients, are they lucky to work with us? No, to me, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's a two-way street. I
Mhm.
don't know absolutely everything about that client's business, but it's part of my job and my team's job to learn and to
Yeah.
listen.
Mm.
These are That's the key asset. It really is.
Mm.
We had one project where there really was a eureka moment in one meeting where it's a very big bakery business, bread business, and one of the clients, one of the people in the room said something that both myself and one of my design directors picked up on. And after the meeting, that was the eureka moment. It was just that one little thing this
Yeah.
person said that
Mm.
just opened up the whole conversation. So you can have those instant ideas, and then it was a question of matrix testing it. Does it actually stand up? Does it
Mm.
actually work within the target that the client has actually asked us to achieve for them? And it
Mhm.
did. Doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes ideas will fail. I'm not saying that ideas, let's be clear about this, that brainstorming is brilliant. It can be, however, a process. If you have 10 designers in a room, they're never going to agree on whether they want tea or coffee, let alone what the brand's going to look like. So there needs to be a process to it.
Mm.
We do have a very linear process from client side, the client can see the different stages, and I'm sure every consultancy has this, where
Mm,
there are specific milestones where the actual project can be measured against. And I do come back to this particular person who is a very good friend, and she's taken us to some very substantial corporations that are all well known over the years.
mm,
And what she said was, she said, "You make me look good." And
mm,
actually, that to me is part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get that trust from her, where and in one particular corporation, she would send myself and two of my team to meetings to represent her.
mm.
That's when we know we've hit the Eureka. We've
Yeah,
absolutely nailed it.
perfect. Yeah. And could you give us any more insights into the Eureka method? Or is this like a top secret thing that's going to be a book or?
No, not at all. We what we did, we looked at how do I define it? We looked at different components, which are tonal values, their
Mm,
corporate values, their brand values, and their customer values. That's
mm,
just four of them. There are eight in reality,
okay.
and they're in a circle. Well, one of my old business partners, Brian, lovely man actually. Brian said he would write a book one day, and I'm not sure how much of this is an urban legend, but Brian said he was presenting this as an old ad agency with his name over the door. Funny enough, and he said they presented for BMW motorbikes, and they had this absolutely superb picture of a leather boot on the kickstart, and it was all glamorous and sexy. And
Mm.
then BMW leant across and said, all of our bikes are electric start. And he wanted to do a book that said the presentation didn't go quite as expected. So what we look at are the tonal values of the business. They're visionary, yes, okay. Are they passionate? Yes, they seem to be. Are they unpretentious? Well, maybe they get 5 out of 10 for that. Are they positive? They're definitely a positive business. I'm just making up the figures now. Are
Mm,
they caring? Do they have a social conscience? Do they have those sort of policies in place? Are they witty? Are they great to deal with? How do they actually sound? This is the people, not the brand itself. Are they
mm,
specialist, or do they do 55 different things? Do the people in the business actually that we deal with, and typically it'll be at board level, are they confident? If we look at their service values, do they have partnerships? Are they likely to work well in partnership with other people? By
mm,
that, I mean, do they work well in partnership with, say, Sainsbury? Are they an own label supplier? Are they a branded supplier? Is it original? Or are we fighting against a marketplace that's crowded? What's
mm,
their communication like? Is this product bespoke, or can it be made bespoke? Is
mm.
there a commitment to their quality values? I've got one in my head, which I'll name in a moment.
Okay.
Um, does it offer value? Value is not price. Anybody who thinks it is deserves to be shot. Value is much wider than that.
Mm,
You make a judgment. I can go to Gordon Ramsay's and I can pay £1,000 for a meal. I can go to McDonald's and pay 99p for a cheeseburger. The price is different. Do I feel that I've had good value in terms of the food? In both cases, the answer will be yes.
mm,
And if we look at the company values, what are their company values? People, team. Are they good people with a team? Do they actually have talent? Have they actually got talent? Or is it people that you're looking around the room thinking, am I going to shoot myself in the foot by saying this? Or you're looking around the room thinking, I'm not sure about you.
mm,
How do they communicate? Do they sit there and wait for the boss, or do they actually contribute? Is their talent bespoke? I.e., sorry, do they have ambition? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong ring there. Do they have ambition? Ambition is essential if that brand's going to succeed. And do they have integrity? Are they going to pay their suppliers? Reasonably important to me.
yeah.
Add all of that up and you get smart creativity, and what you get is a bullseye. It's really
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
it is, yeah, and it's worked very well for us. Now, this matrix, I've simplified it down for the purposes of this diagram. We use this in our presentations. The brand that I'm going to use, wonderful lady, Ramona Hazen,
Mm,
who's a very good friend. I first met Ramona. She has a brand called Me Too. It's now called Ramona's Kitchen because the Me Too movement co-opted the name, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Um, we took Ramona when I first met her in a tiny little factory in Park Royal, which is the food factory of Europe in North London.
Mhm.
And she met all of that criteria. She absolutely did. Um, she's since sold her business for tens upon tens of millions of pounds.
Amazing. Wow.
Now, when I first met her, our job was to get her out of one sector of the mass multiples and get her into the much wider chill chain, which we did.
Mhm.
Um, and that's, to me, that's one of my proudest moments, if I'm being honest, when we took her from there to there. The
Yeah.
one that I kick myself over is that she said, instead of a fee, how would you like shares in the business?
Oh.
Oh, grade A dummy said, no, I'll have a fee. Oh, John Graham.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but I love Ramona to bits. We've been to many awards dinners before, and she's won awards not just for her product, but also for the packaging, for the communication, and all the pieces that we put into that strategy.
Mm.
So she met all of the criteria. And the
Yeah.
beauty is that when we came up with this one concept, it was Mariam, she's actually on our website that came up with it.
Mm.
Brilliant designer. And it was, what about this? The Eureka moment. And
Yeah.
it fitted every single box. And it was
Brilliant.
like,
So I'm
yeah,
going to really, yeah, I'm going to think about this now when I'm talking to people about who their ideal client is. Yeah, it's really opened my mind about that. That's amazing. Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, because it's not just about the brand. It may be
Mm.
absolutely lovely to work on X chocolate brand because it's really glamorous and sexy. But if X chocolate brand is run by a bunch of people and you think, "Oof, am I really going to get on with these people?" Bear in mind, it's two-way street. You
Yeah.
know, chemistry is that's again this piece of business that I talked to you that we've just won, which is a monstrous global brand.
Mhm.
Um, there were three chemistry meetings to check that I'm going to get on with their team and that they're going to like me
Yeah.
because
Good.
I'll be their primary contact.
Mhm.
So all of this came into play at that point.
Mm.
Um, people buy people,
They do.
and they also buy results. Well, we've got a good portfolio of results.
Mhm.
Ramona being one of them. Wish I'd taken shares.
Are
Um,
you going to constantly kick yourself every year?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we have actually we've taken investments in um, two other client brands, um, and doing that. I mean, from any other consultancy's point of view, is it's definitely worth thinking about if you can get all of the smart creativity components to add up, and you believe and you can see where there's a future in the marketplace for that particular business.
Mm.
Excuse me.
I guess this is a good way of knowing if it is a good, yeah, a good sort of fit to actually have that kind of conversation about, yeah, shares in the business.
And
Absolutely.
and also and
Yeah.
also I think you made the point at the beginning that we've been in business for 50 years now. 50
Yeah, wow.
51 years.
Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, you're doing so well, John.
Oh,
I'm so impressed.
it's the hair. That's me get away with it. I'm actually I wasn't one of the founding partners. I joined in 81, 82. But anyway,
Mm. Yeah,
um,
amazing.
I think it's
So,
also for any consultancy, you never let the creatives have the checkbook. That's a really bad idea to do.
mm,
That's my one lasting piece of advice. My
okay.
business partner is the finance director
Mhm.
and he controls the checkbook, which
Mm.
is why we're still here and profitable today.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to sort of know where your strengths are and where they're not.
Yeah,
Uh,
you do.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
we often make the joke between ourselves that I do colouring in and he does numbers. So there's a that balance, but I think that's true in any business.
Mm,
You need creative thinkers, you need right and left brain, and
mm,
the two need to come together. And that's true in many of our clients.
yeah.
They and that's why I really do envy a lot of the brand directors and product managers that we work with, that they have to have that balance, and it's a very difficult balance to strike. So
Mm,
again, our part of our role is to support them with the creative thinking, but to give them that pre-validation to say, okay, this we believe will work because of not just our experience and we've actually done it before, but because in your specific marketplace, market terms, market conditions now, this is why, because we've been through all the validation to get to smart creativity and get to that bullseye.
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And when you were a younger designer, and you didn't sort of have this kind of concept, how did you, yeah, how did you make decisions, or would you go back and give yourself some advice about that now?
Oh, if only, if only. Um, in my distant past, I did a lot of design. I'm going to end the bullseye now off the screen.
Yeah.
Uh, in my distant past, I worked with a lot of globally famous pop stars. Culture Club, I guess, were the biggest.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to be of a certain age to know who Culture Club were.
Yeah. I'm not that
Um,
young.
you see, I'm glad I'm not the only one, Helen. Oh, Lordy. Amongst many others of the 80s, creating sleeves, oh, clothes, all sorts of different stuff for them. It was stage sets. It was incredibly exciting to be part of that whole,
Yeah.
what's now generally termed as new romanticism. And in that time, it wasn't smart creativity. It was the Wild West frontier. You were, whoa, inventing a whole new thing. So there was nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Um, and if I look back now, I'm still fiercely proud of the work. It's great, and actually won awards for it, which is even better. Um,
Amazing.
but it was a lot of fun to do. But that's a very different marketplace to commercial brands, where we're in the FMCG market now. It's a very different field. So
Yeah.
if I could look back and give myself advice, I'd say keep going. That would be really what it would.
Just keep going. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're determined to grow a business, you've got to have guts, you've got to have determination.
Yeah.
You've got to, yeah, have a very clear vision about where you want to go. Um, yeah. Is there anything else do you think, apart from just keeping going, is there anything else that's really important?
Yeah, there is. Whatever your gut and your head is telling you, listen.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
my I discovered an opportunity in Norway, and I thought, oof, I don't know, shall I go? And then I thought, do it, because my head was saying and my heart was saying, go.
mm,
So I got on a plane, went to Norway, met a client. Within 6 months, we had the office out there. Um, I could have not listened. I could have
mm,
just said, we're doing okay in the UK. Mm.
yeah.
Same thing with Istanbul. Um,
Mm,
so I think my advice would be, if it feels right, it is right.
mm,
There has been work that we've declined
mm,
uh, for a variety of reasons, not financial. And again, if your head and heart says, don't do it, don't do it.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I think as I've got older, I found it easier to listen to myself. I don't know whether it's just like how you raise in consciousness or whatever it is. I think, yeah, when I was younger, I really didn't listen at all, and I didn't know how to listen. Just didn't get it.
You're so
uh,
right.
mm, but now, now it's like something is always telling me things all the time, which is great, and it's always guiding me. So whatever you believe in, um, I think that's really important to be open-minded and tap into that. Yeah, that really does help guide you, doesn't it?
I think on your wall behind you, I mean, obviously I've just got a blank wall behind me, but on your wall behind you, you have it says, yes, you can.
Oh,
Uh,
this one. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
because I think that's incredibly important. There's a wonderful lady who actually happens to be a very good friend as well, who I've done, or we, I would say the agency has done absolutely tons of work with over the years. A lady called Jane Milton. If you Google janemilton.com, you'll see who she is.
Mm,
I am a huge Jane Milton fan. She is driven. She's given me advice. She's a food industry expert.
hmm.
So, and truly a food industry expert. And Jane will have, I got that advice from her, listen to your head, listen to your heart, put the two
Yeah.
together. If it feels right, do it.
Mm.
Um, and I think it's interesting when I have conference calls with Jane, she has messages like that on the
Gee.
wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
she's very
Oh,
driven. Look her up. She's a lovely lady,
okay.
really, really,
Wow.
really good friend as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I will do. Thank you. Great. So yeah, I mean, I think it's so obviously we all learn and evolve over time and we sort of learn from each other as well. Is there anything else that or is there any like other people in that have made a big difference in your world over the years? Is there anybody else that you could think of that's really made you think differently or changed your perception of anything or got you onto the right tracks?
Yeah, I think I think there are, but all in their little ways. I
Mm,
mentioned one of my previous business partners, Brian. Brian retired some years ago, so he's quite a bit older than me. Brian, ex-agency, his own agency with his name over the door, quite well known. And Brian, when Brian came to the table and it was just me and him, initially we were like this because he was very much his original position was an account director within the agency before he became a partner with his name over the door. This is in the ad agency. Um, Creatives, a lot of us, particularly when I was younger in my 20s, I didn't want to be told what to do. I knew I had the right idea when actually no, I didn't. And Brian was a good teacher to me, and he taught me the value of commercialism from the client's point of view. And I'm glad I listened to him. And after our 10 years of business, we were extremely good friends. And again, the agency was one of its golden periods,
mm,
incredibly profitable, and we were at that point working globally. So I'm glad I met him, and I'm glad it worked out. So he was a good influence on me.
mm,
Um, I think when I've been to conferences, I'm not sure whether some of the audience will know who Herb Lebalin is, a very famous American typographer. Oh,
don't know. Mm,
having met Herb when he was still alive, he's passed away now, and just listening to the guy, words of wisdom, as in terms of creative, superb.
okay.
So yeah, two people
That's,
there.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for yeah, sharing your method with us. That was very exciting. And yeah, it definitely does make you think differently about ideal clients and knowing that you've got the right solution for the right people. Yeah, amazing. If anybody wants to reach out and talk to you, do you want to drop any links below or yeah, is there any
Yeah, just drop the website and certainly Helen put my email link there, definitely.
okay.
I
Yeah.
think it's also important, the final thing I will touch on is confidentiality. We completed this was 18 months ago, 8-month project for an enormous company, which we signed contracts with that we can't talk about and I won't.
Hmm.
And I think for any agency, remember that you respect the client,
Mm,
respect their wishes, and respect their confidentiality as well. That's mission critical to me.
absolutely. I totally agree. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Pleasure.
yeah, I hope yeah, I'm very excited to see the projects that are coming about on your side, if you're allowed to
Come
share.
on, it's like,
When
yes.
you're allowed to share. Yeah. Uh,
I appreciate your time, Helen. I really do. It's always good to talk to you.
oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much.